I realized one story that I didn't tell a lot is how I burned my business down at a time where I made the most money in my business, and how this really taught me how money responds to who you are being, despite what the current results are. And I'll explain this to you. I know you're watching this because you either want to make more money, you want to expand your capacity to make more money, have more success, sell more, whatever that might be. But I want you to understand this. When I decided to burn my business down, it was at a time where I was flying high. I was gaining a lot of traction. I was signing a lot of clients. I was building a team. I just did my TEDx talk. Like, things were unfolding in a beautiful way until that one point when I remember sitting on my couch after I did a masterclass, and it was a free masterclass. And I remember the way I felt in the masterclass and the way that the people responded to me. And I felt so out of place. I felt so disconnected from what I was teaching. I no longer was the embodiment of my work. I no longer wanted to talk about what I was talking about. It felt not deep enough. It felt not true to me, not true to my heart. The values are still the same, but it wasn't enough. And so I remember sitting on my couch and feeling so confused, because I said to myself, but who am I if I'm not this? Who am I if I give up this vision I worked so hard for? Who am I if I tell my clients now this is no longer what I'm doing? What's going to happen? What's going to happen if I have to rebuild everything from zero? Because that is exactly what I had to do. And at that time I had, thousands and thousands of followers on Instagram, and I was known in this space for my specific work. And I had an audience. I had people who loved what I was doing. I built everything from a podcast to, again, my social media. And if I were to now say, this is no longer me, who am I? And what's going to happen? Will I make money? Am I gonna have to find a job? All of these questions were in my mind. My assistant coach at that time, she messaged me, she called me, she's like, are you okay? I feel like something is going on. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not. I think something really needs to change here. And I don't know what it's gonna be, but I think I no longer wanna do this. The moment I made this decision, not only did I feel this heaviness lift or fall, whatever, however you wanna describe this, but I also felt like for the first time I was being true to myself. Because when I look back, even though I had a very successful year, it wasn't fully the embodiment of what I wanted to do. And so when I decided I'm going to do something else and I'm going to rebuild it from the ground up, I started to realize and I started to really understand this concept of how money responds to who you're being, either when things are working or when things are not working. Because it's very easy to follow momentum. It's very easy to see, hey, this is working, let's double down on that. Hey, I'm successful in this, let's do more of that. But eventually you have to ask yourself, do I actually want to do this? Is this actually aligned with my vision? Because it's great if it's working and you can make money off of that, but there is a level we want to go deeper into. And that is the level of identity. That is the level of truly asking yourself, what are you here to do? And not only that, but also spending that time reflecting on your vision and realizing that you have the choice to change at any time. And when you do that, that is when money is going to become a byproduct because of who you are being. Because you're no longer scared to take risks, because at that time, it was a huge risk. I just moved to a penthouse, which was a lot of money to pay for. I just hired a business coach, which was a lot of money each month. And here I am burning everything down, not knowing where my next money is going to come. I literally did not know if my clients are going to stay, what I'm going to sell now, where the money is going to come from. I had no idea. I was very lucky because I had a couple of people that worked with me for a while and they stayed and they still are here, which is, I'm so grateful for that. But at the same time, it didn't make logical sense. That decision that I made, it did not make logical sense because I saw my expenses for that full year and I did not see how the money was going to come in. I didn't know it. Now I do know that what I had was my trust in myself and knowing that if things go bad, I get a job. And for a short time, I'm able to make it happen. Now, that was never really a possibility in my mind because getting a job was not something I actually really wanted. But playing with that idea gave me some type of security in my mind. Thinking about the connection of money and identity. Money will reward you when you take risks. Money will reward you when you do things that no one else in your life is doing, that requires you to let these old parts of you die. And I had to let my old identity die in a way I never thought I would. Because for so long, I had that vision of my business. I knew what I wanted it to become. I planned 10 years ahead, and now all of a sudden it's all just taken away from me. And of course it was my choice, but it was gone. It was no longer my vision. It no longer was part of the bigger picture, and I had to rebuild everything from the ground up. But isn't that entrepreneurship? Isn't that creating a business? Now, I don't know where you are right now in your journey, if you're in the middle of your business, if you're shifting things, if you are starting your business. But what I want you to know is money is going to reward you. You're going to be rewarded because of who you're being, because of the risks that you're taking, because of the actions that you're taking, because of believing in yourself when no one else is, because you show up for yourself, for your purpose, for what you know you're here to do every single day. And that's why I know that if this is you and you are willing to go the extra mile, you are willing to make decisions that are drastic, you're willing to take the risk, I don't doubt in my mind that it's not going to happen for you. Like, you're going to be rewarded. Through success, through wealth, through visibility, whatever it is that you want, it's going to happen. But you're willing to question, you're willing to look at things differently, you're willing to check in with yourself and ask yourself, do I actually want this? What is my vision here? Where do I see myself go? Am I willing to pivot? Am I willing to burn everything down? Am I willing to let old parts of myself die? That is really the piece of identity that when it clicks, it clicks. Because then we can take it a step further. And then every day you ask yourself, well, if I was already a successful business owner, making this amount of money or having this amount of success, money is really just a byproduct of all of it, how would I show up today? And I had to ask myself that question. At that time, when I made that decision, I said to myself, well, this is just the beginning, but I see myself up there. And if I see myself up there, what decision would I make? How would I show up? If I want to play big, I got to make big decisions. I can't just keep playing small. I can't just keep staying in the comfortable, because it was comfortable at some point. Of course, it was hard work, but still, it felt comfortable because it was familiar. I knew exactly what I had to do. I had the strategy right. I had everything set up for it to become very big, but it wasn't big enough. It wasn't the vision I was meant to go on. And I know you're watching this because something within you is making you, it's clicking. This is an important piece. And the identity is something that I will teach in my 5-day free Magnetic Money Challenge. This is where I will dive deeper into layers of what do we need to let go of? How can we rewire what's going on the inside? And who do you need to be in order for you to attract more money, more success, more wealth? And it's really a process because it's going to be nervous system, it's going to be identity, it's going to be trauma healing, it's going to be all these important, significant pieces that are going to shift everything for you. And it's going to be so transformational. So if you want to join, the link is down below. I highly recommend you do that. But with that being said, I invite you to just reflect a little bit on your journey and ask yourself, am I playing small or am I taking action based on the bigness I want to go to, based on the vision I have? It is going to be scary. It is going to be uncertain. You're going to take risks, but it's going to be worth it. With that being said, if you like this type of content, please let me know down below. Subscribe to the channel. Sending you so much love, and until the next time, bye-bye.